We are privileged to have with us today Shri Rajeev Bhatnagar, Director of Hazira Complex SR Steel. Mr. Bhatnagar is the chief of one of the largest steel making facilities of India with a capacity of 10 million tons per annum. With over 33 years of steel industry expertise, Mr. Rajeev Bhatnagar has worked in the top management positions across leading steel makers of the world like ArcelorMittal at Romania, Macedonia and Ukraine. He has also served Sale Bilai Steel Plant. Mr. Rajeev Bhatnagar is a BTech in Metallurgical Engineering from IIT Kanpur and holds a postgraduate degree in Industrial Engineering from III, Mumbai. He also did an international executive program from INSEAD, France. Sir, we feel honored to welcome you on stage.
Thank you, and once again a welcome from my side also, ladies and gentlemen, to this very interesting and impressive conclave that you're having. Like my colleagues, I also would like to congratulate my friend Begum for this achievement and respectfully acknowledging the presence of Mr. Mohanty, Dr. Mittal, Madam Ramnath, Akshay Saxena, another friend of mine, Mr. Arvind Jain, and all the Mr. Naha, and all the great, knowledgeable delegates who are present here, my friend MV and Pankaj on the dais. I think we are going to get very serious on this subject later on in the day. So it would not probably be out of the context to be to have some lighter moments before I actually load you with something more. This is a place where I suddenly start remembering a sher in Urdu that मौजूदगी का एहसास किस तरह से महसूस करूं, कहां से शुरू करूं फसाना और कहां तमाम करूं, क्योंकि this place which is Raipur or Bhilai, all of you know it's probably one place, and this place whenever I come here, usually in marriages or something, but for the first time on a more serious note, makes me very nostalgic, and all the memories of my becoming a steel person, right from the graduate engineer trainee days up to wherever I reached, and also my becoming, more importantly, my becoming a person who likes to be connected, who likes to mingle with people, and who likes to be in a fraternity, and who's always surrounded by good people. I mean, they say that if you are good, you will get good people around. Bhilai is a place where I think it has one of the best communities in the world, because I have seen everywhere, and also it's the best teaching place for any. So I would like you to applaud loudly for this temple of learning, which is Bhilai, and I'm really serious about it. Now coming to the subject, well, I think the delegates would have to spare us. Unfortunately, the key to things is only one or two generally, but keynote speakers are many. So many times you will have repetition in data, etc., etc. Don't mind that, but I'll try to present something which Pankaj said or Mohanty said in a different way. It's not a negative way, but let's say from negative to positive. See, all of us say that India is the fourth largest steel producer in the world, and we feel happy. But look at it from the other angle. We are not even 10% of what China is. So, look at the gap. So it's not just being fourth is important. It's important to at least be 50% of what China is. We don't want more, actually, that's not required also. That's one part. Second is, we are all saying that 2025 we'll have something like 300 million ton coming from India. I just met a friend while I was coming here. He said, you steel people, he is in a different industry, that you keep talking of so much of production, but where will you sell? Whatever production you have today, you are not able to sell. Most of our plants are not 100% on capacity utilization. So, this is another way to look at what we want to do. It's not important just to look at per capita consumption multiplied by some population and say we want 300 million ton. So there is a lot more to it than just the numbers or just thinking about the production capacity going higher. Also, if we look at the imports in the year that has gone, there is, I think Mr. Monty can correct me, but I think there has been about 57% surge over the previous year in the imports that happened in our country. So in spite of and we are utilizing hardly 75% of our capacity in the country as a whole. So these are some burning questions which I want to add while we are all talking of what this country can have. Now, let's say from this negativity to positivity, and there is a reason to go to positivity today. Another thing I was just remembering, so many plate mills. Look at the plate mill in Angul and Hazira, because I am a plate mill born, steel man. So I know how good those plate mills are. But again, they are not loaded fully. So these are very important questions. Now coming back to where some of more parameters in addition to what my colleague said already. IMF estimates for sure the growth rate in FY15 to be 6.4% for this country. And also very important finding that has come from World Bank and IMF both is that by 2017 India would have crossed in terms of growth in GDP, it would have surpassed China. So that's a big news and a very good news. The other thing is that after the BRICS movement and lot of discussions that happened that the economy will be actually driven by growth in these countries, as we say, the BRICS have now gone. It's only IC or IC. So the growth is happening only in India and China. Brazil, Russia, and other places have actually not been doing good as was thought. This is another good thing for our country. Now, also look at, you have already heard that this is the right time to think about growth, etc., etc. That's right. Never in the independent, history of independent India, except for some symptoms which came in the 1991-92 that we are becoming global, etc., etc., is for the first time, in my understanding, that a solid and a robust and a realistic plan is appearing in front of us, which will actually boost the consumption of steel. And this looks very realistic, so I'm really upbeat about it. The industrial corridor project is in a very final stages of implementation. The new smart cities, let's say the urban class of people that is going to emerge, and also with the fact that if GDP growth is coined at 6.4%, the growth in steel is likely to be 1.2 or 1.25% times of that growth, which is another good news. And also something which is very relevant to me in SR, because we are also going for a very huge reconfiguration project, is that this 5:25 scheme of project financing which government is bringing is another very good news. So you can put your debt for 25 years for repayment in 5-year cycle. That's a tremendous opportunity if it comes. And lastly, Make in India drive, which is everywhere, whether it is plastic, glass or anything, also steel, and also steel plant equipment. That's the best part. And I think a lot of steel plant equipment manufacturers are sitting here. I must say at this point that such forums where the steel plant operators, steel plant makers and technology providers all are together, it really makes sense, a very good sense. I in fact like to elaborate why. Now, let's say from global macro economics, if I come to steel, as I said, there is everybody said that there is a CAGR of almost 7%. So from 74 to 75 million ton. At this rate, simple mathematics says that even if our capacity utilization is close to 80%, we should be at 150 million ton by next decade. So another 5 to 8 years. 300 million ton in 2025 can also happen. But let's say this is definitely realistic and very evident. I forgot also to mention when I was saying look at those points where there is some more discussion should happen, which are not very positive, let's say, is also this iron ore price. And I want to mention that also, that don't think that $64 price is going to remain forever. I also personally feel it's not going, because the consolidation that's there in the mining industry will never allow this to happen. But I'm really surprised. I don't see my colleague Kothari here. He was probably also coming. One of the reasons of my coming was to meet you all. So I think while World is selling iron ore in $64, but NMDC is still having its own rate. This is quite surprising for all of us as steel makers. Point to discuss later. I think QCFI will kill me if I keep talking of macroeconomics and steel, and I don't switch to the main theme of this conclave. I'm just trying to set a context, because when you say that the race to quality has no finish lines, I think building up from what I said, I personally, and I'm sure many of my colleagues, would like to give a little different context to the word quality. I'm 100% in sync with Dr. Mittal and Srivastava that quality is what customer thinks and perceives. It's nothing. But purely from a steel plant perspective, I would say that quality should have following dimensions. One is quite well known. We all talk about it, and this also takes me back to my building years in plate mill, in Bhilai steel plant, other places, where for me quality meant only counting, what is the percent of rejection on my shift, and then whether it is steel defect or coil defect, etc. And then I came across this term called NCO. So what is your NCO? Boss will ask the subordinate, and we'll keep talking about the NCO generation should be. I was not concerned about customer, frankly speaking, at that time. I was concerned that I should control my NCO, and then I'm good at quality. So I think that perspective definitely, after so many years of seeing industry, has changed, and it should change. In rail mill, I remember Mr. Puri is here. So all our energy was to increase the percentage of acceptance. And it can, we used to do all sorts of things, technical or non-technical, organizing some parties in Bhilai Hotel, etc. So, it's, what is quality? To me, it's quality, particularly coming out from this kind of a conclave where so many learned people are sitting, it should be a shifting focus of customer and emerging markets. So instead of just talking about the traditional markets that we are in, the moment we think of going to 150 million tons and all that, we have to think the steel will not get consumed easily if we do not create more markets, which at some other forum people are trying to do. Some of the things we know very well, that in automotive sector already there is a tremendous impetus on 10-to-8 ratio increasing. So in other words, you have to reduce the weight. Aluminum is our competitor. But then we are also into it. A lot of people are putting continuous annealing lines in their plants just because of that reason. So similarly, and then this ductility versus strength discussion that keeps happening. But there are products which also require aesthetic condition, smooth surface, which is also very important. You know, surprisingly, after having worked in rail mill, Puri, for 3 or 4 years, one day I never had that perception. Why we say that we should produce long rails? And why, is it because of something technical? No. The primary reason is customer comfort. And of course, you can increase the speed and so on and so forth. So, similarly, there is a concept of shifting from building homes to manufacture homes. I'm just taking a clue from, this initiative from BlueScope, Tata BlueScope, and to partially in SR Steel also. So there is a good model that homes will be available as built, and one can just bring the mobile crane and start take it to whatever you like and start living. And this should cost something like 2 to 3 lakhs of rupees, one home. So so this is an emerging market, to my opinion, because if in India this thing happens, this would amount to, we just roughly calculated, 16 million tons of steel in a year will go only in this. Knowing the numbers of people who don't have homes in this country. And this is also in discussion to some extent in our, in different forums that we have. So this is an explosive situation. So I mean, this is just one example. There are plentiful examples. I remember the plates that we produced back in those days when plate mill Bhilai was, and probably at that time, Rourkela, Bhilai, only 2 or 3 plants had plate mills. Today, the same users need plates with 3 or 4 cycles of heat treatment. The welding technology that has gone up, imposes this kind of a condition. So the world is changing. When we think of quality, probably it has to be linked to R&D and keeping in mind the future market and not today's market alone. So that's the simple message that I wanted to say. The second point, mastering steel making with available raw material. This point has been touched already. Particularly for India, where there are millions of tons of microfines in the form of tailing which come out of beneficiation plants, and in the form of low-grade iron ore which is available in Odisha and other places. This subject is under discussion for last many years, but so far, to my knowledge, not a very solid answer has come with 31% Fe iron ore, the magnetite ore. In fact, there it's a hub of iron ore, not a very rich iron ore, not like our Belladilla or something, but it's a mixture of the stones are a mix of magnetite and hematite and also a lot of waste. So when they explode, they get 3 categories of ore, run of the mines, and the magnetite part they keep through magnetic separation, beneficiate, bring it to 66% Fe and use it. So of course they have a bigger problem of how to use the oxidized part or the hematite part. So that's their research. But what I want to say is such technologies are available where we can use our low grade ore in some or the other way. But unfortunately, I also talk about it, my colleague wants to talk about it, but we never get good top management time to sit on this and work together. So this is another point which we can take back from here, and a team can be set up who can take it forward in a more serious way. A reference was made for Corex and fines. Here, since we are one of the plants today, after let's say JSW and in India, who have actually used Corex to the full, good or bad, whatever it is. So I can share with you that it's not always fanciful to, it probably is fanciful sometimes to just think that, Corex and Finex will do good to us. We have to really think about steel making from a business model. Corex in one or two lines, if I can tell you, is good. In the beginning, it looks very attractive because you don't have to put a sinter plant and a corresponding coke oven compared to blast furnace. Saving in the investment cost. But while you're using it, it also generates two bad things. One is coal fines, because the coal that you use is not it's not metallurgical coal anyway, because that's the purpose of Corex. But it generates 40 to 50% of coal fines and humongous amount of Corex gas. Unless and until these two things have a definite usage in the plant, the Corex is not a viable model at all. That's what we have experienced, and we have made internally lots of improvements on that side. In fact, Hazira reconfiguration project that we are doing now is going back to blast furnace from whatever we did. So we are back to blast furnace converter route for our new setup. In different plants, situations can be different, and since our plant was gas based and gas is not available, and if at all it is available, it's very expensive. We are going back to traditional way of making steel, which to us today looks the best way so far. Blast furnace converter. Okay. So this is probably my point number 2. Third point that somebody told me that steel making is actually the art of making slab. This tagline keeps coming in literature, which has a lot of sense in it. Because if when we reach to 150 million ton of steel, you can imagine we'll also produce 70 million tons or 75 million tons of slag. So blast furnace slag at least has found a way, and most of the steel plants have corresponding cement plants to utilize that slag properly in a very good way. But in our country, in a correct way or in a commercial way, the steel making slag still does not have a usage answer. This is a very so when I say quality in that perspective, the race to quality doesn't have a finish line. I think this tag fits right into this context, that we must build new plants, new capacities after definitely ensuring what we will do for the slag. Otherwise, you can see the heaps of slag lying around every steel plant. And in fact, I was very happy while walking through the Matex counter here that they have developed. I heard about it, but then I didn't know how it works. And the slag can be converted into short blasting balls and can be used and sold. So we would like to go into detail of that subject. Even after taking out the metal from the slag, which is hardly 4 or 5%, you have heaps of slag which, and compared to this, these companies who come here and sell their machines like Harsco and Duke City and all, they always say that, they show me, I have not seen frankly, but they show me a picture of tarmac, the airport roads and all that they are made of steel slag, and they do a better job than the normal roads. So I don't know why we in this country are lagging behind on this subject. It's a serious issue that we can all join our hands together and push it harder. That's my appeal. Then, of course, we have already mentioned that steel making is highly energy intensive and not friendly to environment at all. So this is another very important subject. I am purposefully bringing it to the in the ambit of quality, because we cannot build up more capacities with a greenfield of ground without considering what the environment conditions will be 15 years or 20 years from now, not what they are today. And some of the things are definitely going to happen. We know it. If SOx and NOx is not a necessary condition today in a sinter plant, after 5 years definitely you'll have to install it. So why not provide for it today? CDQ is, in coke oven, you can either put it or not put it, but I'm sure in 2 or 3 years, any new coke oven plant, you will not get environment clearance if it doesn't have a CDQ. It has started happening already. So these are just examples, but in all our expansion plans, this is a very important aspect. Then next aspect is about the land availability. That even though good news again that there are relaxations in the land acquisition rules, definitely there will be more ease for the steel industry. But all the same, the availability of land will be an important subject even now in the future. The other aspect which is not so much discussed when we become too technical is that the quality of manpower, which at least I can experience when I'm running the plant and my colleagues as well, that as the days are going and the youngsters are not too attracted to this particular field, I remember my days in when we joined in as a graduate engineer in the Bhilai Steel Plant. We were how many 215, and out of that at least 40 to 50 of us were metallurgical engineers, some mechanical, electrical, and then this breed came up in the country in different plants, and today I don't get hardly 1 or 2 or 3 metallurgists in a year, even if I search for many. From a good background and all. This change also has to be arrested, and this is a message. Dr. Mittal himself is from IIT Kanpur. I think it's a very important issue. At this point, I just like to share a data with you. Why youngsters should go to steel? They should not. You know why? Yesterday, somebody told me, we were in a conference again, that yes, it was day before yesterday morning news that Apple's market cap has become equal to 40% of India's GDP. India, such a huge country, and its GDP is. So, if that is the kind of growth in those industries, youngsters would. So, I think this is another aspect which is very important to be discussed: how to attract people to make steel, and they should get better payments, better conditions, better status, and all that. And finally, I would say this campaign which has been launched by respectable Prime Minister, and it has also flown into the steel industry, Make in India campaign, is really very interesting. This personally to me, it meets my personal, feeling as a, we are all very patriotic in young days. So I used to feel whenever there is a steel plant being built, if it's a coke oven, it should be Hude. If it's a steel making shop, it should be SMS, CMAC or Siemens. If it is a rolling mill, it should be Danieli. If it's a plate mill, it is Siemens BI. Why we don't have something like an Indian company which can make all the steel plants? And this subject was discussed in Calcutta the other day. I think Mr. Mohanty was also there, and a lot of good ideas have come. And personally, I feel I had suggested there also that a bit of compulsion will have to be probably brought into where. If a new configuration or plant is coming up, one will have to put in a rule like other countries have done. Some countries have done that not less than 80% of your equipment have to be from India, made in India, it's not necessary that it should be either Indian company or, people have started making, I don't know if there are some people from Siemens or SMS here. It's a very welcome move that they have also opened up their shops in the country. And those equipments which we never thought can be made in India can probably be made in India. But here, my understanding and the thing that I would like to share with you all is why, and this is connected to what I experienced in Ukraine, Russia, etc., who knew how to make steel equipment since ages, Gipromes, but why they never could take the market leadership from these advanced nations and companies? That was because of three reasons, to my mind. It was not mechanical stability of the equipment. Look at my plate mill in Bhilai, which still says NK, MZ, and it's so robust. But what those people did not know, that similar thing is happening in India when there are some people who are trying to make steel plant equipment, is the laggardness in automation. And in many cases I've seen an order goes not to a Russian party and from my ArcelorMittal experience, to somebody there, is because they keep on doing R&D on automation and they're always advanced. So they come up with a product which is more efficient and more less labor oriented and so on. The second thing which is very important is this is relating it to the experience that all of us had when HEC was formed so many years ago, where probably the main purpose was that it should start making equipments for steel plants to come, but it did not succeed very well. Again, it was not supported by technology. So you can't make equipment. Dancer is here. You can take somebody's order and make an equipment. But if you have become an original equipment manufacturer, you have to have a technology wing with you, who's continuously working, and a continuous R&D unit. Without that, probably the lead will not come. And then these three things have to be coupled. And probably the fourth dimension will be environment, as I said. You have to manufacture the equipments which are giving an answer to the environmental conditions, the regulations, 15 or 20 years from now, not today. And which we all know how the world is changing, what will be the requirements of CO2 emissions and also the greenhouse emissions, etc. So, I think when we talk of quality, or the race to quality, and on behalf of the steel fraternity as a whole in this country, I would urge all the steel related organizations to not to consider this race is a good word, but rat race is not a good word, because at some platform we are also competitors. We should realize that there are so many things which are common to us. As a slag is a common problem. If we all together solve it, we'll all be benefited equally without harming anybody's commercial interest. So there are so many such items. So we should not consider this as a rat race, for winning, but to join hands to address the common issues, like slag, like iron ore, like Make in India. And with this, I'm really thankful to QCFI to organize this ICISM, and congratulations to the organizers of this eventful seminar. And I'm sure it's the first, many more will come. And also at this point, I'll take the opportunity of this forum to request to Mr. Monty and others that since we have many organizations in the country, now AIST, for which you are the chairman, I am the chair, you are the chairperson, I am the chair. This is the nomenclature, I don't know how it came. So then we have IAM, we have, this is also something that we should look at, whether they should be consolidated in a way that AIST will focus on this and IAM will focus on this, not to form too many such non-profit making associations. And then together if we go, I'm sure the dream of sustainable, usable, consumable 300 million ton dream in 2025 is definitely going to come in this country. Thanks a lot.